welcome to a basic Bible study. We are studying Acts of the Apostles, and we're coming near the end, rapidly approaching the climax of this very adventurous story of the founding of the early Christian communities in the Eastern Mediterranean world. Paul has been delivered to the Roman governor Felix in Caesarea Maritima by the commander of the cohort in Jerusalem, who doesn't want to try to figure out Paul's case himself. And the governor has agreed to hear the complaints of the Jewish leadership against Paul and also to hear from Paul. When the delegation from Jerusalem arrives, they have with them a certain Tertullus, and they presented formal charges against Paul to the governor. When he was called, Tertullus began to accuse Paul, saying, "Since we have attained much peace through you," now he's talking to Felix, the governor, "and reforms have been accomplished in this nation through your provident care." So Tertullus is really kind of buttering up the governor here, trying to, make the best first impression, probably because he realizes that he has nothing against Paul that the Roman governor is going to want to act on, right? And then what happens is he accuses Paul basically of offending religious sensibilities. He says, "We find this man to be a pest. He creates dissension among Jews all over the world and is a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. He even tried to desecrate our temple, but we arrested him," which in fact Paul did not try to do. "If you examine him, you will be able to learn from him for yourself about everything of which we are accusing him," which of course, well, yes, that would be true. You'll be able to learn that he is a follower of Jesus the Nazarene, a follower of the way. He says that the Hebrew scriptures predict a suffering Messiah who would rise from the dead, and he says that Jesus fulfills these predictions. Yes, the Roman governor would find out that Paul is exactly guilty of what he's accused of, and the Roman governor would want to go like, "So what? How does this concern me or Rome?" All right? So then the governor motions to Paul to speak, and Paul does. And let's just look at a couple of verses from his response. These are verses 12 to 15. "Neither in the temple nor in the synagogues nor anywhere else in the city did they find me arguing with anyone or instigating a riot among the people. Nor can they prove to you the accusations they are now making against me. But this I do admit to you, that according to the way, which they call a sect, I worship the God of our ancestors, and I believe everything that is in accordance with the law and written in the prophets. I have the same hope in God as they themselves have, that there will be a resurrection of the righteous and of the unrighteous." And so that's part of Paul's self-defense. He's saying, I'm someone who accepts the fact that the prophecies have been fulfilled in the man Jesus of Nazareth, and their God is my God. They just don't see this the same way. Paul goes on, "But some of the Jews from the province of Asia," those would be the ones from Ephesus who saw him in the temple, "who should be here before you to make whatever accusation they might have against me, or let these men themselves state what crime they discovered when I stood before the Sanhedrin, unless it was my one outcry as I stood among them, that I am on trial before you today for the resurrection of the dead." All right, so the very next thing that Luke tells us is that Felix is accurately informed about the Christian faith, about this evolving, coming out of Judaism, new baby faith of Christianity. Felix was accurately informed about the way. He postponed the trial, saying, "When Lysias the commander comes down, I shall then decide your case." Now Lysias is the commander who had custody of Paul in Jerusalem. "Felix gave orders to the centurion that Paul should be kept in custody, but that he should have some liberty, and that he should not prevent any of his friends from caring for his needs." So it's kind of like a sort of a gentle house arrest that Paul's got going on there in Caesarea. Paul is several days there in the praetorium of Herod, being attended to by the disciples and his friends, when Felix comes with his wife Drusilla, who is herself Jewish. All right, and he had Paul summoned, and he listened to him speak about the faith in Christ Jesus. But as he spoke about righteousness and self-restraint and the coming judgment, Felix became frightened and said, "You may go for now. When I find an opportunity, I shall summon you again." So Felix actually had an interest in the way. He's already been schooled in it. He and his wife, who is Jewish, several times come to Paul and listen to Paul and let Paul instruct them. And Felix he's uncomfortable with some of what he hears from Paul, but he keeps coming back. Luke also adds this detail. At the same time, Felix hoped for a bribe, so that he sent for Paul every now and then and conversed with him. 2 years passed, and Felix was succeeded by Porcius Festus. Isn't that a name? Porcius Festus. What a great name, huh? As the new governor, of course, of Israel, or Palestine, as the Romans called it. Wishing to ingratiate himself with the Jews, Felix left Paul in prison. Felix could have freed him, of course, as an act of clemency by the governor, but why he cared about at that point ingratiating himself with the leaders of the Jews when he was leaving, I can't say, but that's what happened. That, in any event, is chapter 24, Paul on trial, so to speak, before the Roman governor. This has been Basic Bible Study, Acts of the Apostles. Thanks for joining us, and we'll hope to see you next time. God bless you.